Yeah, the agenda.
Go ahead, Counselor.
All right, thank you. I call this Utilities Committee meeting for October 5th, 2020 to order. Yes, we're here and you're not, but you're up there on the screen. So we do have a quorum. So could I get a approval of the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as read. Agenda is read, please.
A second? Surely you want a second, Joe?
Second.
There you go.
No, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? If you had a chance to look over the last meeting notes, we need a motion there too.
I'll make a motion to approve the last meeting notes from September 14th, 2020.
I'll second.
Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
All right, for the reports, yes, we've got the sewer audit, water audit, and asset management that sound like Eric.
Are you there, Ashley? Ashley?
Sorry, once you shared your screen, it blocked everything, so I just having a hard time finding them.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So as of this morning, we've had 149 properties connected during the audit. We've had 62 properties connected ahead of the audit, leaving us with a total of 211 properties connected to date.
And that's just in the Village of Rito, so correct, Ashley?
Correct.
Great.
And then Ashley and I had a question. So how do we want to deal with the town and country project? When do we want to prepare and send letters? Do we want to send like a special letter since it's a special project to say, hey, this is coming? Or do we want to run it through the regular audit process?
I would say, Eric, after the contractor is hired, and we have the project starting to get off the ground, then we'll send out a courtesy letter.
Okay, basically, so we could rewrite kind of a special letter saying that once the sewer line's in, you have 180 days to connect.
Yes.
Okay.
And if they're already connected, we're gonna connect them at our cost, aren't we?
Yes.
Okay.
And so we have already audited that area, correct, Ashley? So we know exactly who has it and who doesn't.
Some of the roads, I don't think we've done all the roads, but I know for sure we've done Chavez.
I think the Mary Chavez and Valencia are the only ones we got to worry about.
Okay, I'll look at those and I'll fast forward through the audit process for them if we haven't touched them.
I'd probably San Miguel, they're above.
Yes, and there a lot of those have Mary addresses. And I think
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's all over Miguel.
So we'll work on that. The other question that I had is, so we're coming up on starting the interceptor line construction components. And we've been holding off on Upper Canyon to wait for that project. But that area is the priority area for connecting on-site systems. Mm-hmm. Do we have a strategy that we want to implement to pursue this? Do we want to do the audit ahead of that project and just have it all prepared and ready to go and know who we need to send letters to connect?
I think, Eric, truthfully, I think we should make after at least this first part of the project with the slip lining is done, because I think a lot of the camera work and everything else they've done with that area. And once they get the slip liner, we'll have a better idea of who's connected and who's not.
So we could basically have somebody work in better conjunction with the slip lining company to know exactly where connections are coming in.
Yes.
And so we can kind of, okay.
Eric, it might not be bad to go ahead and get some publicity out, just generic, that it's coming. If we could get something in the paper or have the mayor and Ron and Tim talk about it on Monday mornings. Just let people know that it is coming. They're going to be required to hook up.
And I think there's a lot of places that are hooked up, and there's some old, cesspool on-site systems there.
Yeah.
But, there's a big area up there that we're not going to be able to service right away. So just the ones right along the river are the only ones that we can really service.
Yeah.
And I know that the study that we did, I think it was like suggesting it was $1.8 million to connect like everyone within the like 300 feet of the river or something. So we probably need to start looking at how we'll implement that process.
Yeah, Eric, we'll have to start some sort of campaign, on once we get closer to getting the SAK back on board and let everybody know what areas we're working at, and just Adam will know better than I will, and just when it comes to traffic control or whatever in those areas. So just
okay. I just wanted to make sure, because Ash and I were talking a little bit, for us to do the audit as it kind of works now, it probably would take us a good 4 months of dedicated time to do the audit for the Upper Canyon. So I just wanted to make sure that we had enough time to implement whatever our strategy was. But
that's a good idea, Eric. The only thing I don't want to do is I don't want to stir up any of the homeowners, because anybody starts. There's a lot of people that want to catch it on the forefront, and they'll start turning applications. And then we, as of right now, we cannot let them hook in until this project is done. So I don't want to discourage people.
Done all the way.
Yes.
Okay.
Sure.
Or at least faster enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I just taken down some notes.
You good?
Wait, did anyone have any questions for Ashley about the audit?
No.
Okay, I'll move on to the water audit then. So I did the tracker tool again for this month. We're still seeing that increased trend in our values. This is the infrastructure leakage index. And then our total water supplies and non-revenue water. So we're still seeing that uptick in non-revenue water. And this month that's being displayed is the August. So we see August at the end. This is one of our worst months for non-revenue water in quite a while. We have really substantially high water being produced, and our water sales actually dropped quite a bit since our peak in July. And so we'll have to keep an eye on that. I know that Adam, you had a lot of leaks come out over the Labor Day weekend, and so maybe some of the existing leaks might have surfaced at that point with all the system stresses. But we'll see how September looks here the next.
And just to note on that, Eric, the month of September alone, we had 36 main breaks. And then in August, we were right there at, I think, 28, I believe.
In August, you had 28?
I think it's right at 28, yes.
Yeah, and you guys had that big leak, kind of there by the all subs. I just remember you guys flushing there, and you said somebody turned off your hydrant when you were trying to flush.
Oh yeah, that was on Junction. That was doing a hydrant. Yeah, we had an issue with the hydrant, and we had to flush the line to get the water off the guys.
Okay. Alrighty. So we'll keep an eye on that. It is kind of a bit concerning, but we'll see how the September values come out. But we do, Adam, you and I probably need to get together this week and talk about the leak survey, and how we might be able to either get a contractor or buy that equipment for you again.
Gotcha.
Any questions about the water audit?
How much is that equipment, that leak detection?
And right around 25, 30 grand, just depends on which ones we go with. I actually tasked Jody, the field supervisor, to look at the equipment that he'd want to use on it, and he found some pretty good equipment. And he has some on him right now, but it's some older equipment. We would like to have some updated stuff to start, because anytime that these guys, like Jody, he's the supervisor out there, so if he's looking for a leak, he uses it. If we see something like that, or on their supposed downtime, whatever, a lot of times he'll pick a street, he'll pick a neighborhood a week and kind of go through it and do it.
Yeah, well, imagine in paper, so.
Oh yeah,
pretty
for
quick.
sure. And the stuff we have, it pays for itself every single day. If we had some updated stuff, I think we'd be.
Well, and if you guys remember the water conservation report, it was showing that, if we can survey about 20% of the town in any given year, it'll be a savings of about $30,000 per year minimum. So anywhere from $30,000 to $80,000. So it might even be something for us to consider if there's just not the staff power to implement regular leak detection surveys in that given time of looking at expanding staff. We might save money by expending more money on staff. Okay, asset management. So since our last meeting, which was only 2 weeks ago? I'm sorry, maybe it was 3 weeks ago. I talked with Heather Himmelberger with the Southwest Environmental Finance Center. And so she is working with her staff to finalize the scope of work, to do a small services contract, professional services contract. So I'm just waiting for that contract, but I followed up with her last week, and she sent me an email this morning and said that they're actively working on the scope of work. So hopefully we'll get something this week.
All right, on the Alta Reservoir improvements, Eric, is that you or Randy?
Yeah, it's me. So we did do an exploratory dig for that commingled line. And Adam, I think you're right that the line just follows Ski Run Road all the way to the highway, even though we have newer surveys of it going up on that bench. Mm-hmm. They excavated that fitting that we found, and that is actually connected to an AC line that's abandoned in place. So that's where the old steel line went, but I think they ran it along the road. And so Jan has an exploratory dig scheduled right off of that vault, and is going to try to find that connection to the commingled line. I think that's one of the last things that we've got to do. Ashley sent out a file to Marcos with Moles and Corbin, and they're doing an analysis based on elevations to determine where we need to put in some new air vacs to do the pressure test, and then we should be good to start developing that scope and testing that line.
Okay, what about your underground storage?
No updates from that. We're still working on that draft assessment that we reviewed, or I discussed the review last time with you guys.
Okay, then the town country water and sewer rehab replacements. Hang on, or Adam?
You want to do your own, or you want me to do it?
Go ahead. I can give I can also update it, but go ahead, Adam.
I'll just kind of, we did get the grant for the CDBG grant. As right now, there's been some email traffic between Sutter Miller and the Village of Ruidoso, trying to get a task order, an updated task order for project management and the start of this project.
So we have that task order on the agenda. It'll be there tomorrow morning for the workshop. And that's for the, taking us up to the bidding services and then to the construction management on it. So, but it is on the agenda.
And it's ready to bid, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, the plan said is 100%.
We have to, there's a couple on the CDBG side, we have to do the implementation on the actual grant itself, that there's an implementation workshop, we have to do that first. And then there's a couple of other things we have to do, like the FONSI and things like that. Even though we already had the environmental done, there's just a process of documents prior, and then you request for the funding, and then you can do the, you know, we can go out to bid and get all that done. There's just a few things we have to, where staff will learn during the implementation workshop, so.
And 12 years later, we'll start.
This one I think will go a little
We only have
faster.
24 months to complete a project with the CDBG. We should be done by, we start working on it, get it bid out. We should have it done in time to again, apply next year.
Because I believe that the project is estimated at 180 days
So
once we get it bid out.
I think we'll be good and we'll be able to move forward and get another application in for next year.
Yes.
Good.
That's the plan anyway.
All right, the stormwater management at Horton, Eric.
I've gotten no updates since our last meeting here.
The RJU building.
RJU building, I think it's basically the same as last time. We have Wilson and Company on hold as we speak. We're still looking into the Walker building next to the solid waste there. And
Yeah.
we're trying to get some legal on it.
So we're committed on that building if they get the title all straightened out.
Pretty much, yes. It'd be a great start to our building. I think it would cut the cost way down because that building is already standing.
Put some stuff in it.
Yeah.
All right, Grindstone Dam projects. Randy?
Okay, SMA completed the dam gallery survey, and the topo was completed and sent to Ye and Associates and Right Water Engineers and to Chuck. So they're all reviewing the data right now, and they did it on 3-inch contour intervals. So they're trying to get the best clarity inside the dam. Plus, they also sent a bunch of pictures that they took. So everything's being assessed now. And Ye and Associates will assess the deficiencies. Then they're going to start working on the technical memo. But we had a project update meeting last week, and it went pretty good.
Good. Okay, Eagle Creek and Gallon Canyon well field design.
So we had our 60% design review with Micah and Casey, and so we got all our comments back. Last Friday, we also had an additional discussion with Roger Peary, myself, and Micah, and we made some changes to how the well heads are going to be set up that I think is going to be really beneficial for us. So we are changing the size of the fault well upper portions of the casing. When we pull the surface casing, we're going to drill it to a 14-inch bore hole, and that's going to set us up in the future to do a deepening at fault well if we want to. without having to reset that surface casing strand. So that, it's going to be a pretty minimal cost to increase the size, but it will help us out quite a bit in the future. And then Karen Gutierrez and I are actively working on applying for funds with the Water Trust Board for this project. We thought it was a good fit, and the application is due on this Thursday. And so tomorrow at the workshop, we're presenting the resolution for the application.
Okay. Hazard mitigation and stabilization.
Okay, and Karen is not here. She's out for an appointment, but she did give me a email from Phoebe. I'll read to you guys. It's kind of lengthy, but just kind of
Okay.
give you guys an update. Phoebe says, we have not received the written letter from SHPO documenting the no adverse impact concurrence, but we have received a verbal from FEMA EHP and from the US ACE. I followed up with Chris Parrish again this morning to get an update and timeline from him as well. Both Greg Suko at DHSEM and I have reached back out to Sean and Alan from FEMA to request either a letter from SHPO or an email from FEMA EHP documenting the determination from SHPO in writing. We want to make sure that we all have written record of the SHPO determination because of the lengthy discussion with SHPO. Hopefully we'll get a written documentation in the next few days. If we do not get a written documentation in the next few days, we will ask again during the biweekly call on Thursday. In my discussion with Chris, Chris Parrish, he stated that he is already working to finalize the 404 permit. He did receive the SHPO letter from Alan Hermley and has started to finish his documentation based upon that letter. He did request a copy of the written report on the historic and archaeological resources. We're not physically getting that to him today. We are physically getting that to him today to support his 404 process. He did request that from FEMA EHP months ago, but they did not send it. There's another report that FEMA EHP produced on the historic and archaeological resource, and that is the report that was requested. So that's pretty much what we have on FEMA so far.
But Chris Parrish has the SHPO report and we don't.
That's what it sounds like to me. It says Chris is verbally planning on getting the 404 permit next week. He says he will email the permit to Tim Dodge and a copy to Karen, Ron, and Adam.
A lot of times on that, Counselor, is that in order for him to get the review, to initialize the permit, he has to have all the documentations firsthand, so that way he gets moving on it. So
it also says that FEMA wants the 404 permit prior to finalizing their EAN fund determination.
At least he's working on it. Okay, lift stations and force main.
That was kind of
That was it.
yes.
The Alto Crest treatment plant improvements.
Okay, work completed to date is the rough grading, the dock lift foundation, and some of the siding is completed. Work in progress is going to be the stucco and chlorine building foundation, the ADA access ramp, and the retrofitting of the roof is in progress right now. As of last Thursday, they had half of it completed. And the 30-day look ahead is working on the stucco, working on the electrical rub-in for the for the chlorine building, and pouring of the foundation, and retrofit insulation, and working on the access stairs and the parking space and the generator pad. So they've moved, they come a long way on this. So it's still a work in progress.
Well, at least they're working.
Yep. And you know what I was going to offer, if anybody would like a tour or take a look at it, I'd be glad to take somebody out there and show them what's going on. So that's something I'd like to offer.
Okay, Apple Orchard and Middle Gavilan improvements.
This last few weeks, they've done all of the gravel, and they're working on the fences. They set all the posts. I think they're working on it today and tomorrow to finish the fencing. There's some minor electrical work to do, and then I think the hold up the project is going to be the electrical connections with P&M and Otero Electric. So we got a new address for Apple Orchard. They wouldn't let us have an account without an address. So Apple Orchard now has an address. And then they should be starting work on the cleanup grading down Gavilan Canyon and fixing some of the issues that they've caused. I went out there, Adam, and I saw that they fixed that manhole that they cracked. They report that. So, and they unburied the fire hydrant that they covered up. So I think we're in pretty good shape. But we are proposing a 35-day extension change order at this next council meeting.
And Eric, did they get the Apple Orchard, the tie-ins? Did they mitigate that?
They haven't done that yet. Okay. So we did convey. So the Apple Orchard tie-in is still leaking, and we went out to the site with Marty, and Marty kind of gave his pointers for working on the line. So it's not up to us to tell the contractor how to do things, but we sent them a email outlining that if we were to do it, this is how we would do it. So Marty recommends to cut out the beads, the welding beads, where there's leaks. So grind that out and then just kind of superheat the pipe right in that location to dry out any type of moisture, and then weld it again. That should hopefully resolve the issue. We're also recommending that they dig out the site a little bit more, because I think that the welder was having a hard time seeing the underside of the pipe and was doing the best that he could without really getting a good visual understanding of the bottom side of the pipe. So hopefully they'll clean that out, but I have not heard their proposed schedule for that.
All right. The Country Club tank, Randy?
Hey, Randy, you're muted still.
Okay, I'm sorry. Landmark came out on Tuesday, and they worked on the repairs from Tuesday to Saturday, and they went through and they checked all the bolts on the bottom of the plates. They inspected the plates. They went around the perimeter. They put a lot of work, and hopefully third time's a charm in it, and it solves the problem. But they resealed it. They did find a couple areas where it did leak, so they took care of pretty much everything, and they completed it on Saturday. We're gonna let it dry till Wednesday, and probably start refilling the tank on Wednesday or Thursday. But I told them it had to be solved on this go around. We can't empty it again. So once we start refilling it, we'll rechlorinate and take it back tees and then go from there.
Well, hopefully they get it.
I mean, they put a lot of effort. It's cost them money because it's coming out of their pockets. So
Sure.
They spent 4 days. They had like 3 or 4 guys out there, and even Aaron from Landmark came out on site just to have an extra pair of eyes looking at it. They talked with the tank representative, and put a lot more effort this go around. So hopefully that solves it.
Okay, restoration of existing sewer lines and manholes.
That's gonna kind of go as coincide with the hazard mitigation. We're just waiting on the funds and the EA. And we can get SAK back up here to start.
Just waiting on permits.
Yes, sir.
Okay, the Alto 2 well.
So Katie and I went out to the site and did a partial substantial completion survey and created a punch list for all the infrastructure besides the well. We had a slight delay caused by the wire. Surprisingly, we weren't able to get the wire for the pump, but they have that in hand now. And unfortunately, the truck that's capable of hauling the pipe to the site broke down for Katie Hewitt Company. And so right now we're talking to them and explaining that we're not going to have that be an acceptable excuse to extend the deadline for this, because they're already on a tight schedule and they need to either contract somebody to bring the materials down there or figure out something to get those pipes down there. So I'll keep you guys updated as we resolve that issue, but they were supposed to disinfect the well on Friday was the schedule. And then they were supposed to install the pump and then purge today and tomorrow, but that's not happening. So hopefully we'll get them out here tomorrow or Wednesday.
Okay. The phase 2 of Hemlock Circle.
Moses Corbin did finally receive all the deliverables for Hemlock Circle, all the GIS data points.
Yeah.
And they did review them. There was a couple discrepancies on them, and they were fixing to send them to us. So we should have them hopefully this week.
Great. And the Greenwell.
So Yellow Jacket's been on site since last Tuesday. They installed all the disinfectant in the pump and motor on Friday or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So today they're working on the electrical VFD and getting that all set up. And I think tomorrow they'll be purging the well, hopefully. So that that project's still on track to be done on Thursday or Friday.
Well, what are you going to do if you get one finished?
I don't know. I'll let it sit in the closeout process for a year just so we can keep talking about it.
Hey.
Okay, well, speaking of closeout process, Main Road Bridge.
I wish that Karen or Courtney was here, but I think we're still waiting for the substantial completion. And I'm going to call Eddie about this right after the meeting, because I called them. I called Ron Trujillo and told him that we needed the substantial completion form, and we still haven't gotten it.
Yeah, Eric, so as soon as we get all that information, then I can submit the final closeout of the project through the EDA. So if I have to.
Yeah, I haven't forgotten about you, Ron.
No, you've been good. You've been trying to get that information. If I have to call Eddie up and get that, because I have a document I need to have him sign and have Roper Construction sign. So.
Okay, I'll call him right after this meeting, since we're going to finish pretty early. And then if I need some help later this week, Ron, I'll call on the big guns.
All right, I guess that's all of them, unless somebody has something else. Next meeting's November 2nd. Do I have anything else? All right, this meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks all for the info.